This is Talk Star Wars, the official podcast at talkstarwars.co.uk. Hello everyone and welcome back to Talk Star Wars. I'm Mark.
I'm Stephen.
And I'm Rob, Gallblimey Trousers.
Oh, he started
I
already.
forgot to say my own name then.
That's all right.
I noticed there was a weird...
I completely forgot who I was.
No one else will notice because I will take the scissors to it and you'll sound professional, but I'm leaving this in because I want to shame
I'd
you.
leave it in now. There's no professional.
People know
I did,
there's
as Mark knows, I
there's
do have a Gamorrean guard stuck in my tooth.
That's it. There's
I couldn't get it out. I had to clean my teeth.
That answered
People should
last
know
week's
there's-
question.
Yeah, people should know there's an energy to this show that, you know, cannot be fully explained in the medium of published media.
Yeah.
Or Medichlorians.
Yeah, the recorded
Yeah,
show
them
is
too.
very different to the published show.
Well, yeah. I mean, not you know, worlds apart, but definitely
A little bit cleaner.
a little bit
Yeah,
cleaner.
we only cut out, 6 hours of each show down to get a nice episode?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
record for 10 hours and I managed to squeeze 1 good hour out of it.
It's amazing that work have never asked where I've got to. It's weird.
You're
I
doing
have to
something
apologise
right.
for any sounds of cat litter being done in the background. My
Okay.
wife, I'm not going to moan at my wife for cleaning the cat litter
No,
trays,
that's good for you.
but she's giving me the bird.
Not
Yeah.
good for you, but, you know.
She's flipping me the bird now.
Beware the dark side. We've got an awful lot to get through this week, so we'll keep this stuff at the top nice and trim so that we don't overrun too much. What I do want to do before we go any further is give you a quick update on Kelly's London Marathon adventure. Kelly actually completed the marathon. You know, for the past couple of weeks I've been saying go to the homepage and there's a little donate button on there. Well, apparently lots of people have done that. Kelly completed the London Marathon on Sunday. She doesn't want people to know what her time was because she said it's not good enough. It was 6 hours. So if she asks, I didn't tell
That's
you.
really good for someone who's not
She
a
did
runner.
really well. She's a bit hard on herself, but I saw her this evening and she showed me the medal, and if the medal was really quite heavy. I didn't realise how heavy they were. She told me all her stories. What I might do at some point is I might interview her about it and put it out as a pod blast on another day.
Nice.
But the good news is the Talk Star Wars community has helped raise a lot of money.
Okay.
Kelly's total was just over £14,000 she raised for Haley's Heroes,
Nice.
which is
That's
going to
awesome.
make
Well done.
it's going to
Jeez,
make a
that's good.
massive difference. So to everyone that's listening to this podcast, and I know there are people that don't listen to the podcast, just picked up on what we were doing because Mark Hamill retweeted that link. Thank you. You've made a massive difference, and it is appreciated.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's
Well
awesome.
done, Kelly.
Yes.
Right, the In Memoriam section this week is thankfully very, very empty. Nobody connected to Star Wars
finally.
passed away. There was actually, before we started recording, there was news I saw of an unfortunate passing from somebody from our youth, but it's not really Star Wars related.
And also, it didn't happen by the time you wrote the notes, so it doesn't
didn't.
count.
No.
Sorry, you died too late.
That's it. Perhaps you'll make the cut next week.
Maybe. Depends if we learn something Star Wars related about them, then maybe.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank
Anyway,
you so.
we have a thank you section in place of Memoriam. I just wanted to mention this guy because, you know, a couple of weeks ago I mentioned Catherine and how supportive she is
Yes.
with retweeting our posts. Well, there's another guy. His name's Richard Urbanski, and his Twitter handle is @BurskiSolo.
Nice.
He, I've noticed, has been retweeting a large portion of what we put out. He's very, very. Thanks for that, Steve. We're going to have to get you. We're going to get you a slide whistle. Yeah, he's really active on Twitter and really supportive. And he did send me a private message and said, "I will retweet often," and it's greatly appreciated. So thank you, Richard. That's
thank you.
@BurskiSolo on Twitter.
Nice.
Thank you very much.
Okay, quickly look at some reviews. I know a lot of people like Corey over at Tumbling Saber have been leaving us reviews on iTunes, but iTunes
Thank you for that.
Isn't showing me all of them. So I know they're there because I know Kyle was having a battle with iTunes trying to get a review on as well.
Yes, I've heard this.
So I'm going to file iTunes in the poo section, but we did get a nice 5-star review from
Oh,
Connor.
wow. That's a lot of stars.
Yeah, the heading on the review was the 3 hardest working men in the GA ... Now, I'm willing to speculate
GAY.
that's gay bar. the 3 hardest working men in the gay bar.
Whatever works.
Don't know how appropriate that is.
In the pink cantina.
Yeah, for a second, I thought it might have said galaxy, but that just doesn't.
That sounds
make
like
sense.
a horrendous euphemism, Steve. The pink cantina. He drinks at the pink cantina, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I could get up on stage and drag it. Da, 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 da. It would work. I can see it now. I could make that work.
I don't know if you could, Steve. To be honest,
No.
I'm going to give a behind the scenes story in a minute about Stephen, but we'll get through.
mate.
I'm just going to read Connor's review from iTunes. So he's written in there. I came across this podcast just after the release of episode 7, and I've never looked back. It's informative, insightful, interesting, and in my opinion, the best Star Wars related podcast in the galaxy. I think that's really high praise, isn't it?
I think so.
The next bit's a little bit woolly. Marc is a great host and often has
What
to
an
bring the
idiot.
crew, Rob and Steve, back on track after some great rabbit hole discussions, which really get the whole crew fired up. He's put, we do the what if, and this is what I think is going to happen thing. He put, I love this show. It's now a regular addition to my weekly podcast digest. Thank you, Connor. Well,
Thank
He's
you, Connor.
in
Thank
the
you,
pink
Connor.
cantina any
Yeah.
time.
However, one quick thing on that. It's
Go on,
very
mate.
clear from reading that review that he does not listen to my podcast, The Crazy Train, because if he did, he'd know that going off topic is exactly what I do. It's just my thing.
Yeah, it's become our stock
and I
track.
brought it with me.
I was thinking about this the other day as well. I mean, the tangents and the diversions and everything are so
They're entertaining.
enjoyable. Yeah, I really enjoy them because it means I have to put less effort into the show notes. But also this what if, and this is what I think is going to happen thing that we do, that's kind of become our stock in trade. And I think that's really nice. I think that's really nice. I really enjoy that.
It's interesting
It's
because
a lovely review. Thank you, Connor.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Humbling. It's very kind to know people actually listen to it.
it's interesting because before I joined the cast and when I was just submitting questions, I was never really big on speculative theories and actually steered clear of a lot of that stuff in order to avoid spoilers. So it's interesting that I've kind of gone down the absolute opposite path now. But I'm actually having a ton of fun doing it. I wasn't expecting to.
No, see, we
But,
brought you
all
to the
the
dark side. I never imagined that would be what we would do.
No.
What
Well,
if you'd never sent those questions?
That is a great question, Steve. You think I wouldn't have written that impassioned piece about episode 3?
In a parallel universe somewhere.
Nobody.
I wonder what's going to happen in the future if Rob keeps on with this blabbing inane crap that he's going to know. We
Hot and
love
kettle,
you.
Steve. Hot and kettle.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
we've got a good crew.
And Jeremy would only make us stronger. Join us.
Join us. A couple of other little Twitter mentions.
Yes.
I've just plucked a couple of these out because I thought they were really nice.
We get thousands.
We don't get thousands, but
of course.
Brandon Lipani, who goes by at KB3YUA on Twitter, says really succinctly, great show, man. Now that hit. Where was I? I was off slaving away on the day job somewhere, and that popped up, and it really made my day because it's right near the release of the podcast. Yeah. It means people are on it. You know, the podcast is coming out and they're listening.
Yeah.
And then we also had from Brad Harmer Barnes, at Real Brad HB on Twitter. He said, listening to At Talk Star Wars, best episode yet. Just keeps getting better and better.
Thank you, Brad.
And
Brandon.
Do you know what I think caused that? Steve being naked.
That was it.
This was the best episode. A lot of people.
It's the little things, isn't it?
A lot of people, yeah. It's the 3 little things.
I'm wary of saying yes because it might set a precedent where we all have to be naked in a few episodes' time.
I think too many.
But to be the best it can be, I'm wary of what we're going to have to go. Too many. Oh, cooks.
Cooks.
Okay, sorry, misheard you there.
Before dark. Yeah, so Steve, if you can make sure you're naked this evening, just so we can keep up this little streak that we're on.
Okay.
The streaker streak.
It'd be like,
right.
Good luck naked. Okay.
Here's a little bit of here's a little bit of behind the scenes of TSW, right?
Oh,
so
yes.
I get home I was driving home from Reading. I was in Reading on Tuesday.
And I love Reading.
I get a panicked text message from Steve asking a question about his I am assuming
Nudity?
he's panicked because he spelt my name with like 30 letters.
Wow.
And
No, it was a Marc.
It was Marc. It didn't read like that. It sounded really. I thought you might have been hanging by your fingertips from a precipice. So it turned
was
out to
doing
be.
Sorry. Stop.
Yeah.
So you thought he was hanging by a precipice, and the first thing he'd do is send a text.
Yeah.
Yeah, Marc.
Some people have peculiar priorities. We're going to say.
Well, I'm not going to doubt that.
Well, anyway, I was on it obviously straight away. I replied 2 hours later, and it was just about YouTube, wasn't it, Steve? You're asking.
It was revenue streams.
Sorry, I had a bit of a delayed reaction there.
So we had a FaceTime conversation.
Okay.
And the subject of Steve's nakedness came up during this FaceTime conversation. Yep. And he revealed to me that he was actually pantsless during the FaceTime call.
And
when we say pants,
yeah, that's the American pants.
Yeah. The American pants.
Okay. Trouserless.
Yeah.
Well, no, Marc thought I was clothed because I had, in the FaceTime call, I had a top on and a jumper. And of course, that's not true.
Appearances can be deceptive, though, can't they, Steve?
What? So, hang on, you were in like a t-shirt and boxers then?
No, I was
not
in
boxers.
fully clothed on the top.
This
I'm
is
a bit like a yin yang.
You're
a lot of something.
You're yin wang. What he was wearing on the bottom, Rob, was a pair of Santa's Little Helper elf underpants.
They're awesome.
With like a black elasticated waist and a buckle.
Please tell me that's true.
It's absolutely true.
Is.
It's
Amazing.
absolutely true.
Hang on, Jen, can you get my elf pants out the drawer, please?
Oh, God, get the camera.
Oh, they're in the laundry. For
Oh.
some reason, she washes my underpants.
Oh, I know.
It's
It's only the stubborn understains that hold them together.
They're load-bearing stains.
I think it was the Christmas spirit that was holding those together, mate. They were actually green and red stripy elf-style underpants. And the fact that I saw them disturbs me no end.
Yeah, I can understand.
If you enjoy that story, thank you for tuning in to Talk Star Wars. And that's what you've got
and
to
that's
deal
it.
with.
That's a wrap.
Yeah, thank you for your listening up until this point.
Right, Rob, do you want
From
to...
now on, it's all nudity all the time.
Rob, you wanted to address Corey from Tumbling Sabres comment.
I did. So Corey from Tumbling Saber, which is a wonderful podcast that you should definitely check out if you enjoy Star Wars, hockey, and superhero movies. From what I've heard so far, requested. He was really dead keen on our accents, wasn't he? He's fixated almost.
There are no accents.
But this is what we keep saying. There are no accents. So. Nonetheless, he had a listener request, which was he wanted to hear some Cockney. So all I can say is, Cockney, do me a lemon.
Yeah. Apples and pears.
Apples and pears, dog and bones.
Now, I actually was thinking about this the other day, and I thought, what could I possibly... I don't really know much Cockney, but
I know a few bits.
Oh, the clothes are the easiest. You got your rhythm and blues, your shoes. You got your almond rocks, your socks. You got your Peckham rye, your tie.
Oh, that's
nice. You've got loads. I can't think of it. What else we got there, Rob? In the old clothes department.
Well, I'll tell you what, mate. Can't think off the top of my head.
Decode this,
you
then,
stumped
right?
me, mate.
Yeah, I'm going to put you to the test. So I took the old dog out for a ball of chalk up to the meadow, and I had a little mosey through, and the morning dew soaked straight through my daisy roots and gave me freezing cold plates of meat.
Blimey. All blimey trousers.
But in true Cockney, of course, they would only ever say the first half of each one.
They would.
You wouldn't say almond rocks. You'd say, "Oh, my almonds are wet."
That's it. Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you do the old apples.
See,
Sorry,
Corey.
Start the old apples. Yeah.
We're dreadful.
Sorry
Cockneys.
if we're ruining Cockney for you, Corey. But there's a lot more to it. There's a lot of nuance that it makes it very tricky.
Yeah.
Well,
can't
for those not born here, I think the definition of a true Cockney, and I'm going to have loads of people correcting me here, is if you're born within the sound of the Bow Bells.
That's right. Yeah.
That sounds right. Yeah.
And
in London, my mum was.
Yeah, my nan was too. So you and I are second generation Cockney, Steve.
Yeah, that's right, mate.
But really, the way I speak is just because I'm lazy.
I'm gonna stop being naked and put my whistle and flute on. Make myself a bit posher.
Well, you've got to make yourself a bit posher, and you have to drop the Cockney now because you're going into the listener email. So, Corey, thanks for the Cockney challenge. I'm going to have to think up a way to reciprocate that. Yeah, cheers me old China.
Mate. Cheers, sausage. I don't think sausage is Cockney, but I wanted to throw one in there.
I was almost tempted to do a kind of, second-rate Jason Statham impression. Know what I mean?
Okay, so this is from our own Jeremy, re the Han Solo cast, and our first listener question.
Hang on, you've jumped over listener email.
What have I done? Oh, sorry, I have. I scrolled. I scrolled too fast.
Yeah, you've jumped over about 15 minutes worth of content.
Okay, listener email. The who's in the Bacta tank thing won't go away. Simon Kirkman at Simon Says Sport. We say no sport, but don't worry about that. Says it's not Anakin in the Bacta tank because he has his chamber and the Red Guard are only used by Palpatine, which we've kind of touched on. I totally agree.
Yeah.
Could be Snoke. He also suggests we can see cold air suggesting a freezing unit or carbonite.
So here's the thing, right? So he got in the same, not sentence because it was over multiple tweets, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, it was over. These are just from 3 tweets. There was another 3.
Yeah,
but this was like a concise breakdown of his points.
Yeah. So in the same Twitter-related breath, he says it can't be Vader because the Red Guard are only for Palpatine, but it could be Snoke. Pick a side.
Yeah, I think what he was getting at, the longer version of that is that it could be Snoke inside some sort of like a freezing chamber, or I'm assuming he means some sort of suspension chamber.
Higher ranking person.
And then that's Palpatine in the robe we see approaching the container.
I still don't buy it.
No, I don't.
It's for me, that's it's too tidy with episode 7, which I don't think Rogue One's going to touch on particularly much at all.
It's actually not. That's been debunked this week. It's a little bit further on in the show notes, but we can blow that point now if you want.
Can do. Yeah.
Pablo Hidalgo came out. He's on the story group at Lucasfilm, and he came out and said Snoke is nowhere near Rogue One. It's completely standalone. Right. So.
Okay.
Yeah, that would make sense. They wouldn't want to do it in that timeline. It's the same timeline, but they don't want to mix them up. In times, it will get people too confused. Not everyone's like.
Plus, it changes the dynamic of the original trilogy completely, which I don't think is their intent at all. The new trilogies seem to me to be very much love stories to the original trilogy, and doing things that completely change the markup because suddenly there's a higher presence than Vader and Tarkin and even maybe Palpatine. Just seems like an odd choice, and it would be incredibly divisive.
Yeah,
I mean the one bits of flack, because I was reading about this. Are you familiar with the TV series Impractical Jokers?
Oh yeah,
I
watched
Comedy Central. I love that show, right? So just as an aside, I've been to see them live and they're fantastic. There's a guy who writes on it called Q.
Yeah,
Brian Quinn. And he actually writes for StarWars.com. I didn't know this until I learned this today. And there was a news article about him, and he was slating episode 7 over a series of tweets. And I think he talked about it on a podcast as well. And what it was, he said, watching episode 7 makes you realize that they've been through absolute hell after episode 6, and it completely ruins the happy ending of episode 6, which I can sort of see where he's coming from. I don't know if I necessarily agree to the same extent how much it makes a difference, but he sort of says, well, I can watch Han Solo succeed at the end of Jedi, but then I know that he's going to be a sort of a crazy old man who's penniless for the next 30 years, flying through space, bumming around. It's like, well, you know what I mean? I sort of get where he's coming from.
I mean, I agree with him, but to a degree, because whenever I tried watching Empire, I watched the other day, and all I could see was Han dying. Yeah. And it was like, poo, this has ruined it. Maybe it'll go away.
I think it will.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it will, because you're looking at chapters of a story, aren't you?
Everyone die.
You have to see each thing in a context on its own, don't you? And I don't think knowing that Han dies won't ruin how cool he is in Empire flying that ship through the asteroid field. Or
absolutely not.
Those things. Seeing Luke all dishevelled and broken on Skellig Michael Island or on the planet Arc-2 doesn't diminish his success. No. Like Rob, you pointed out in a tweet the other day that Luke's greatest moment was that moment when he says, "You failed," and that victory doesn't go away just because we now know that he's had to go into hiding because a new
That's true.
bad thing has happened. You know, so
I mean, ultimately, if we were worried about what we knew was going to happen, we wouldn't have been. There would have been nothing to make us watch the prequels because we knew how it was going to end.
yeah.
You know, we went into episode 3 knowing what was going to happen. At least one of the events by the end, we knew that Anakin was going to have to have become Darth Vader.
Exactly.
So we went in knowing that, and we've known that for, what was it, 22 years by that point?
Yeah, and that's purely a characteristic of it being a prequel.
Yeah.
And we're not digesting these new stories with any reference, so we don't know what's going to happen to Rey. We don't know what's going to happen to Finn and Poe. We're learning what's happened to our characters that we knew from years ago.
Even if there is in it, obviously originally we spoke about this before. They were kind of not so focused characters in the episode 8, were they? Yeah, and now they've been brought back in to a much higher degree. So it's an ever changing platform, isn't it, that they're on? And I think they have to change it as well, because I wouldn't surprise me if they do listen to popular culture and think people are close to the truth. Let's go at a different angle. Why not? If you haven't filmed it yet, let's rewrite that little bit and give them something a bit different, which is what I really hope happens, because that
I think they will. I think they'll.
I kind of hope they don't go too far listening, because when you open it up too much to the public sphere and let them control every little facet of your development, you end up just nowhere near your original vision.
Yeah.
If you spend too much time moving the goalposts and kind of trying to please everybody.
These guys, these creatives, they're not in a bubble. They're not creating new Star Wars in a bubble. They are Star Wars fans. They're steeped in it. They've grown up the same as we have. They've grown up with these movies, so they know what they want to see. They know they've got a responsibility to subvert our expectations up to a point. So there's going to be left turns. There's going to be surprises. I mean, to take Q's point, if you said, well, you don't want to undermine the happy ending, what would 7, 8, and 9 be? It would be tea parties. It would be
unnecessary.
Han and Leia doing a jigsaw puzzle. Rey would rock up on Octu for a game of Scrabble with Luke.
That's my kind of
drama in that.
I don't know if I'd go that far. I think it's more what's been happening in between that it's about. If it was the First Order had kind of come out of nowhere in Episode 7 and everything was going fine until that point. And then we start to see, maybe if we kick in sort of 6 to 10 years before the events of Episode 7, if that period was Episode 7 and everything was kind of going fine, Luke's got his academy, Han and Leia are married and kind of spending their time together and stuff.
The Pink Canteen is doing well.
The Pink Canteen is the business has just flown since we mentioned it, because we sell tickets.
I know we're in massive tangent territory here, but. Right, very, very briefly, because we've got to move on.
Okay.
Do you guys see a future for... Obviously, Disney are going to milk this cash cow, but do you see a future in episodes 6, between 6 and 7, a whole new, lot of episodes describing all those events? And will a CGI Han be in it?
Oh. Go on, Mark.
All right. Yes, I do. I think that period between Jedi and The Force Awakens is prime for storytelling.
Yeah.
I mean, we're just about to get a book, which we might touch on later, actually, Bloodline, that deals with some of that time. I imagine that there'll be standalone movies in that period. I don't think there'll be a CGI Han. I don't think they'll be dealing with any of the characters we know in that period of time. I think we'll have that Rogue One stance.
Maybe, yeah.
Where we'll experience those events through the eyes of some other characters.
But maybe some cameo. Not necessally cameos of the actors, but cameos of
droids
mentioning it. Like, that's Princess Leia. Or Millennium Falcon flies past, or something like that.
Mon Mothma or Admiral Akbar. We'll see those characters, and we'll have new heroes taking centre stage, like Jyn Erso will take centre stage.
Okay. So, okay, thank you. That's answered my question quite well, I believe.
Yes.
So, last bit of the Simon's thing, just very briefly, he suggests that we can see a cold airing suggesting a freezing unit. Do you think it is a hibernation chamber?
I don't know. I mean, at the moment, it could be any number of things, couldn't it? It could be. It could be hibernation, I suppose, or suspension.
I'm still going to stick to my original guns on this one and say that I think it's the reason it's got smoke dissipating out is because it's being kind of exposed, because maybe normally it's kept behind something.
Yeah, it is great how that one image, which wasn't really even a moving image, it was just dropped in there, has generated the most amount of intrigue.
It's brilliant, yeah. That's what Star Wars fans do. They want to know, they want to guess, they want to speculate. Like I say, I didn't expect to be that kind of guy when I joined the cast, but that's just the way my life has turned. I'm all the happier for it.
We turned you to the pink side. We turned you to the cerise side.
Hopefully that's addressed. I mean, that wasn't a question from Simon. It's just an interaction I had. I thought would be interesting and clearly,
I think so.
Provoked some conversation.
Yes.
All right,
it's all
sorry,
good.
Steve.
No, that's right. This is from our own Jeremy Reed, the Han Solo casting, where I was about 15 minutes ago.
Hi, Jeremy.
Hello, Jeremy. Aidan Ehrenreich. Thank you, and put it in brackets, Mark. I'm not that much of an idiot.
Well, you called him Aidan, but his name's Alden.
Oh, Alden. I'm not wearing my glasses.
But no, you're not.
I can't. I'm not.
You've got one job to read the emails, and you don't bring your glasses.
Job, Steve.
Alden Ehrenreich lacks the physical presence of Ford. He's a little on the short side, in fact, and of something we all agree with. Jeremy is reiterating this to perfection here. Why, oh why, is Ingruber not a young hand? God damn it.
It's a great question.
Of the guys above, I would say that Jack Rayner looks the part most of all, but can he act it? Much as I like Taron, I just don't see him in the part. Have you just written a trilogy here? I'm up for all of it.
Okay, I better give that a bit of context, actually, because I plucked that off the comments on the site. That's on that. I put an article out, I think, early this week, which was the 3 things I want to see in a Han Solo movie. Perhaps we can discuss that at another time.
Okay.
But they were 3 story elements that I thought would be important, but I don't know if they could fit them all into one film. That's what Jeremy means
it would be a bit rushed, I think, to put it in one single film, those 3 things, because they all need a bit of exposition from what I read.
They would be on my wish list of things to see, those. Though.
Oh, totally. I'd love to see any of them.
What do you think to Jeremy's comments about Alden Ehrenreich not being the right physical stature for Han?
I would argue.
I think once you've got Ingruber, sorry, no, you go first, mate. Go on.
I would argue that. Okay, I would argue that based on the one film I'd seen him in before, which was Bride Wars, I wouldn't have pictured Chris Pratt as having the physique for Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
These are things that can. I mean, the height thing. I take Jeremy's point that's that might be a little bit jarring, but they've fixed that in.
I've got
films.
two words for you.
Tom Cruise.
There you are.
Yeah. Or indeed Lord of the Rings. They did a lot of stuff there to make people look taller and shorter. Mm-hmm. And the other thing I would say is, like I say, physique-wise, you can fix, that's the kind of thing you can fix with training. And, I mean, Affleck wouldn't have looked the Batman part before he took the role. And then by the time he came out, he looked incredibly, in incredible shape.
Beast, yeah.
You was going to say Buck then. Go on.
Steve, what do you think about Jeremy's comments on Alden Ehrenreich?
Yeah, I mean, the trouble is, what I was going to say is that once you've seen Ingruber, they all pale into...
It is difficult to picture anyone.
Because, and I still don't believe, I think it's gone too quiet. It wouldn't surprise me if this is is misnomer the right word? A detraction, a misdirection, if you like, because it has all gone a bit too quiet on the Ingruber front. Mm. And... he would blend in those films so well, wouldn't he?
It would be hilarious.
I think he
would.
It
was just like, it's Harrison Ford.
It'd be awesome.
What we have to remember is to be the devil's advocate with a wet blanket and some other assorted mixed metaphors. I think we're not casting agents. We don't know what they're looking for. And when I saw Alden Ehrenreich's image... straight away, he was my pick from those 3, from Taron Egerton and Jack Rayner. He was my pick straight away. And I haven't seen him in anything. I haven't seen Anthony Ingruber in anything, other than on these clips on his YouTube video, So we don't know what do they run these actors through in order to get a feel for their abilities and their range. And and we don't know what Han's going to be doing in the film. Does he have to lean more on comedy, or is it more,
You saw Ingerbert as a young Ford, though, in that.
I saw the clip. I didn't see it. I saw it out of context because I haven't actually seen the movie yet. But it's.
I don't believe it was he was in it that long. To be fair,
I don't think he was, but he is.
But what he did was awesome.
He is spookily like the guy, but again, we don't know what they're going for in this role, do we? So,
yeah,
no,
I don't know. But I think the point you made, Rob, is perfect. Wardrobe can change a person's physical stature. He's got all this time to spend in the gym. If they need him to get more buff, he can have his hair styled in that 70s way.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? This guy, I think it's going to be one of those things where we'll get to the movie and it'll bowl us over because the right people are in charge of this.
Absolutely. I mean, if you think about it, we wouldn't have ever thought of Kate Blanchett as being a Bob Dylan cast, but there you are.
Yeah.
These things can be done with, makeup, wardrobe, touches of CG. I know there's none in that film. It's these things can be done with the right makeup and wardrobe and stuff. So, it's not always as much of an obstacle as it might seem.
I'm with you there.
But it's a fair point.
Okay. Thanks for that, Jeremy.
Thanks, Jeremy. Okay. Evidentialist left a comment on YouTube video again this week saying Pablo Hidalgo, wasn't that a horse, and Rian Johnson have debunked the echoes of the Dark Side leak, and that the new book Star Wars Bloodline tells us that Ben Solo had only fallen to the dark side 6 years ago, meaning after Rey was on Jakku. Interesting. Which colours a lot of our theories. Not sure
that really
of the timeline. Does. Wow, that's an interest. I like that.
That changes everything.
Right.
Yes.
That's true. That's incredible.
Let's take this with a little bit of a pinch of salt.
What it is.
Yeah. Okay.
The Echoes of the Dark Side thing was a leaked script that
on Reddit
Pablo and Ryan squashed because apparently it gave a whole bunch of things. I steered well and truly clear of it because I kind of got a feeling. Was that the other day, Marc?
Yeah. I saw those bits, and some of them sounded completely. Some of them sounded completely credible, and some of them seemed a bit tenuous. So I thought there might be some mix of truth in there, mixed with some other stuff.
Yeah, they got the tenuous bits from our podcast, I think.
You reckon? Okay,
probably.
We are a huge deal.
Now the book Bloodline, I've got it on pre-order. It's not out until next week.
Yes.
Now I know the book itself is set 6 years before the events of The Force Awakens.
Yes.
I don't think the story is about Ben Solo's fall.
Nothing to do with Ben Solo's fall. I don't think it's to do
about
with
Leia and the Republic and the rise of the First Order.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't
might be in there.
He is definitely in there. But it doesn't mean that Ben fell at that time.
No.
He might have fallen 5 years before. So we've got to take that with a little. Until we've had a chance to read the book, we have to treat that with a little bit of caution.
I will say, however, that if it is true, that does change everything. In terms of all the theories all the theories we speculated on would change immeasurably if that turns out to be true.
Absolutely, but I posted. We'll talk about this later when we talk about Rey. But I posted a theory this week where I altered my position quite drastically.
Yes, I did see that. Yeah,
but we'll go through that a little bit later. So I think that what Evidentialist has written in the comment there is spot on. Yeah, this book is going to reframe a lot for us, and it's going to be a massive dump of information. But the game's not over yet.
No, absolutely not. Until May the 3rd, is it? It comes out?
I think it's the 5th.
Is it the 5th? There's a trick
missed. They kind of missed the wrong day there. They went either side.
There's a trick missed.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's maybe it's a book publishing thing. I don't know if they're required to do it on certain days of the week.
No, I don't know.
May the 5th be with you. Oh no, don't worry.
What we got next, Steve?
Well, he also points out that the music played when Rey calls the lightsaber from the snow. When she pulls it, is that right?
Yep.
You put calls. See, this is what I have to work with. When she
that's
pulls
true too.
the lightsaber from the snow is uniquely tied to Luke. Very interesting. That I'd like to hear that.
Yeah, it's.
Marc
it
will
is
have
true.
prepared
I think
that for us. Come play it, Marc. You'll have it prepared, of course.
I'll just cut that statement out, Steve. So you're not painting me into any corners.
I think that is true, but I think it's also tied. It might also be tied to the Force in the original trilogy. I'm not 100% sure.
I'm not
sure. I don't know if that's entirely exclusive.
Rendition. Give us a rendition. I can't remember this. Is it something you can?
It is. It is the theme from the scene where the uncle and aunt are burning outside the homestead in A New Hope.
Oh dear. Okay,
it's the music that doesn't make it to the Force Awakens soundtrack. It's the only piece of music. I think I'm right in saying it's the only piece of music that is from another soundtrack and not
Force Awakens.
The TFA
Is
one,
it like Binary Suns?
This is the cue that Evidentialist is referring to in The Force Awakens.
Yeah, right. So you can start with that, Mark. It's not the same piece.
No, is that
no? That appears elsewhere in the trilogy, and I can't think for the life of me where it appears, but it's elsewhere. And it is. They're right in that it's tied to Luke, but I don't think it's. I'm not sure it's exclusively tied to Luke. So it might be Force themed.
Is that Binary Sunset? Do we think?
I don't know. This is the trouble.
I think it sounds like, but it's not after when he's thinking about whether he's going to kill his father, and then he throws his lightsaber around, and then he starts electrocuting him.
No. This is definitely from A New Hope, I think.
Let me get iTunes up.
Okay, it's interesting though. It's very similar to all those, and I know what he means.
Yeah, there's definitely themes in there, but this is the thing. Williams does that. We know this. You know, we know that John Williams puts cues in that refer back to other things. You ever heard the one about the Naboo parade?
Yeah.
Stop it. Stop it now. We're going to get taken down. The one about the Naboo parade. So it's the same notes in a different key to the Emperor's theme.
Oh, yes, yeah.
From Return of the Jedi. And, Return of the Jedi. But, just things like that. We know he puts them in there. So it's entirely possible that this is a kind of a nod to Luke, but I think it's also possibly Force-related. I can't be sure.
Right.
It's a good observation.
It is actually Burning Homestead. Right. Listen,
it is.
Listen to this now. We've just heard that clip, right? So just listen to this. This bit might not make the YouTube edit of the podcast. Here we go. Ready?
Okay. Yes, there it is.
That's Burning Homestead.
All right, keep it going. Yes.
Yeah, it is.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it there.
Well spotted.
Yeah. So spot on.
Well done. Yeah, well done, Evidentialist is whatever your name is. Evidentialist.
I agree that it's a good spot. I think it's hard to say that it's exclusive to Luke without having gone back and watched the original trilogy in a while.
Yeah, and I think it's tied. What the point they're making is that it's tied to Luke because that's that moment at the homestead where all these ties are broken with Tatooine.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So that much is definitely true. But it's Evidentialist. It's if you're listening, which I'm sure you are, it's a great spot, and I think there's definitely something to it. Like we say, Williams has got form for this, so I think you're almost certainly right.
Okay,
so moving on swiftly on Connor Corner. Here we go.
I thought seeing as he's going to be kicking in emails every week, we might as well give him his own corner of the podcast.
Nice.
It's Connor Corner. We can do a little bit of Cockney rhyming slang for Connor Corner, if you can think of it. Okay, well, gents, it's that time of the week where your digital stalker has something he needs an answer to.
Thanks for taking that moniker up from me.
Yeah. After watching The Force Awakens for the third or fourth time this week, blimey, he's worse than us, which looks amazing on Blu-ray, by the way, there's a lot to talk about the film, but not much, if any, on the topic of Kylo's lightsaber and why the blade is corrupted. As we know, Luke can build lightsabers, Blu-ray extra scene episode 6, and surely would have taught this to his more advanced students. So why is Kylo's like this? Has he built his own, or maybe Snoke has built it this way for him? If so, why the corrupted blade? It suggests to me that Snoke / Kylo duo are not Sith, but something we are not yet being told of. The New Order may not just be a name for Nazi-like military we're seeing here, but a whole new order in the Force. Crikey, this is a long question.
Yes.
You still got me. These Knights of Ren are not lightsaber wielding badasses. Look at Rey's vision. Only Kylo has a saber. One guy's carrying a large axe stroke warhammer. Force users, yes, but absolutely. But Sith, question mark? No, I don't think so. A corrupted blade suggests this. Well, to me anyway. I know it's a stretch, but the Sith were destroyed with the Emperor, and now there is a new threat here. After all, the Sith were always about the power of two, so why so many knights? That is a really interesting
That's a
question.
very deep and complex question. Yes, we can break it down.
We're going to do that over the next 4 hours of talking. There's a lot of stuff in there. Sorry, I wasn't reading that like some sort of tar.
No, not at all. No, you're all right.
Couldn't. I haven't got glasses, and there weren't many commas in there.
Yeah, I didn't break it down very well. I'll make more of an effort next time. Let's jump to the breakdown of it. So,
okay,
why is Kylo Ren's lightsaber so jagged? Well, we know the answer to this. Rob, take it away.
So, in the Star Wars Visual Dictionary, there is a breakdown of Kylo Ren's lightsaber by schematic, and the answer is that the crystal that's used is cracked. Mm-hmm. The crystal is cracked, that's why it needs exhaust ports at the side, which is kind of what they are
to vent the sheet,
to vent the excess kind of, I guess, runoff, you could call it. But the I think it's kyber crystal, isn't it? They use.
That's right. Yeah.
The kyber crystal is cracked, so that makes the blade unstable.
Yeah,
and I take crystals are incredibly rare, right? Otherwise, everyone would be running around with.
Well, you say that, but actually, in the Visual Dictionary, they say that the First Order is putting kyber crystals in their turbo laser turrets. So there's maybe there's a new source since the original trilogy, but we've always been given the impression that the lightsaber crystals were very rare because it was always a rite of passage in the Legends canon for a Jedi to find their crystal and build their saber.
And it is still part of canon still from the Clone Wars.
Okay, and I guess these crystals are like self-perpetuating energy sources.
No, the lightsabers have energy cells in the hilt as well. The crystals just focus the energy into that beam. There's a force field that contains the beam in place. Kylo's
the second part of that question is interesting.
Yeah.
Did he build it?
Did he build it? So. I think he built it.
I think he did, yeah.
And I don't... It plays into the Snoke and Kylo Ren Sith. If Snoke isn't a Sith Lord, I think Kylo is a Sith wannabe. I think Kylo desperately wants to be a Sith, which is probably why he's built the lightsaber. Yeah. Now, I reached out to Pablo Hidalgo this week and I didn't get an answer. Now, he's usually pretty good at getting back to fans about these sorts of things. The question I asked, now I know this is more than likely going to elicit a response from Rob. The question I asked Pablo was, is the cracked crystal in Kylo Ren's lightsaber Darth Vader's?
Oh.
And I'm going to be putting together a Star Wars Insights about that next week. Because we know that he sent a bounty hunter, in inverted commas, to Endor to pick something up.
In the perfect weapon.
Yeah, but didn't the lightsaber go down the shaft with his hand?
Well, the hand certainly came off, didn't it? I heard something a little while ago on Rebel Force Radio where somebody said very cryptically to, I think it was to Jimmy Mack, one of the hosts, somebody said, think about how many lightsabers Luke left the Death Star with. It's important.
Okay, and what's the answer to that?
I don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know. Yeah.
Well, is there anything visual in the films where you actually see him holding two?
No, I
don't recall.
Maybe we've missed it all these years.
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
I think it's time for a Blu-ray rewatch of Episode 6.
Yeah.
He's obviously onto something. I wouldn't have said it.
No, I asked Pablo the question directly. Did Kylo salvage that lightsaber? And has he taken it apart? And, was it damaged? Even if it fell down that shaft, that Endor was sprayed with debris from that Death Star. So
that's
that
that went straight down to the middle, and the middle bit's the bit that blew up. That would have been obliterated. That thing.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Has to take a lot of temperature.
Or maybe Palpatine fell out then, and he's on the planet, but shagging some evil.
Just rubbing his head. Oh, that stings. The film The Force Awakens was supposed to open with a tumbling saber. I don't know whether that's where the guys got their title from.
Possibly.
Yeah, initially it was supposed to open with a lightsaber tumbling through space with Luke's hand still clutching it. And then the lightsaber went through the atmosphere of Jakku, the hand burnt up, and the lightsaber landed on the planet
Seriously?
untouched. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I'm really glad they didn't do that because that's hokey as all hell.
Yeah, a lot of people
I
really,
don't like that
are really bent out of shape over it. Actually, I might have misspoken there. It may not have been Jakku, but it landed somewhere.
I was going to say, I might have just laughed my balls off. It might have just soured the whole film for me of like, oh, it's a comedy.
Yeah.
Like, oh dear.
Well, we're gonna...
the second part of the question, I'm going to offer an alternate theory.
Mm-hmm.
He cracked his crystal during the construction because he's impatient.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
Could be. You know, I'm just throwing it out there.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, what about our Snoke and Kylo Ren Sith?
Could be.
So
Connor raises a good point in that he asks, the Sith is always been about the rule of two. Why so many Knights of Ren? But it's never said that the Knights of Ren are Sith, only that Kylo Ren leads them.
Mm-hmm.
So in the same way that Darth Vader has his Inquisitors, which are not Sith, they're dark side Force users, it could be a similar arrangement for Kylo Ren, where he's leading a group. They don't even have to be Force sensitive. I mean, it's implied that I would guess that they are, but we've never actually been told, I don't think, definitively that they are. So he could just be leading a band of mercenaries, but they could still be Sith, the pair of them.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I found interesting, I don't recall, even when Maz Kanata's talking about the different forms of evil she's seen take root over the periods of over the time she's been alive, I don't remember her saying that referring to the Palpatine and Vader as Sith. I remember her saying the Empire.
The Empire, yeah.
Yeah.
do you think that once Kylo completes his training, he's actually going to be called Darth Ren?
No, I think they'll change it. Maybe Darth Kylo, although that's a bit naff. But the Ren thing is kind of relevant to the Knights, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you think they might repurpose the name Revan, Rob? You might take the name Darth Revan.
I mean, it's possible. Yeah. I mean,
yeah, because Anakin didn't become Vader until he was, named Darth, was he?
Yeah.
He was knight.
Yeah,
exactly. Darth is a kind of collective, not
like a lord.
It's that almost like a title, isn't it?
Like it's a nobility of Sith, isn't it? Almost.
It's almost like the family name, isn't it?
We've kind of answered his question there, haven't we?
Like Don.
We've kind of answered it in the sense that we probably all think it actually is Sith.
Well, I think
so. I think it's plausible.
Kylo sees himself as Sith.
Yeah,
and
maybe Snoke does.
I've got an interesting point of view on these Sith characters that we're seeing. There seems to be a lot made of the Rule of Two, and a lot made of how a Sith Master will take an apprentice, and then the whole shark's teeth thing where they all roll into replace one another. But if you think about these Sith Lords, all the Sith Lords we've seen, only one of them has really had an objective that actually complements the ideology of the Sith, and that's Palpatine.
Yeah. Everybody
else had alternate motives. So Maul just wanted violent revenge against the Jedi.
Yeah.
He didn't have bigger plans. He wasn't ambitious. He just wanted to kill Jedi.
Yeah.
Dooku, who's the most interesting one in my opinion, didn't seem to want any of the Sith goals.
No.
He seemed to want to end a lot of the conflict, and he seemed to be using the dark side and using the Sith to meet those ends. And it's interesting to me that he's the one that seems to go by his Darth moniker a lot less than the others. He's still known as Count Dooku.
I don't remember. Yeah, I think I don't think he ever refers to himself as Darth Tyrannus, does he? He's always Dooku, and then somebody else calls him Tyrannus. Maybe Yoda or Mace Windu.
Jango Fett references.
Oh, sorry. Yes, he does.
Yes,
Jango Fett does.
Recruited by a man named Tyrannus, and Palpatine greets Dooku as Lord Tyrannus when he arrives back on Coruscant. He says, "Welcome home, Lord Tyrannus."
Yeah.
Apart from that, you wouldn't really know, and I think his objectives are actually quite sympathetic, and it's pretty compelling to think about what he wants. And I made a big to-do this week about Luke's Luke's ideology in Episode 8 lining up with Dooku's.
Yeah.
Because I wonder if that's going to be something similar, like they might use the dark side as a means to an end. Mm-hmm. And then if you look at Anakin, he wanted to get rid of the Sith, and he wanted to rule a galaxy, but with Padme and instill his own form of order. I don't think he really ever wanted what Palpatine wanted. So none of these Sith Lords really wants anything in particular. Mm.
Yeah, one of the things that is worth bearing in mind is obviously the Legends canon is kind of its own thing now, but back in a comic book series called Legacy, which I just started rereading, which is a cracking read, it deals with the resurgence of the Sith 125 years, I think, after Return of the Jedi.
Right.
And it deals with sort of, Luke Skywalker's descendants, and I haven't yet seen any other characters turn up apart from R2D2 because he turns up bloody everywhere.
Yeah.
But then, as Lucas pointed out, that's because he's the kind of the story keeper.
Yeah, the narrator. Yeah.
Did you see that bit, by the way, Steve?
No.
So basically, George Lucas in an interview explained that in his mind, the R2 is the keeper of the Journal of the Wills.
Yeah.
So anytime that a Star Wars story is being told, it's R2 kind of
narrating it.
Yeah, to somebody else, which I thought was just incredible.
I didn't actually read it, but I think Marc touched on it.
Yeah.
Or spoke to me about it when he was looking at my elf pants.
Yeah. It's now if I cut that section of the show out, that's going to be really confusing.
Yes.
It goes back to George's initial design for A New Hope, and how he based it on a Kurosawa film called Hidden Fortress.
That sounds right.
Where he felt that R2 and 3PO would fulfill the roles in that movie played by two servants. And he thought it'd be interesting to tell I think the Hidden Fortress follows these two lowly servants and tells the story from their point of view. So there's all this political and all this warfare going on, and they're seeing it from their lowly position on the food chain. And he thought that would be interesting, so he designed R2 and 3PO, and this is just a logical extension of that now.
Yeah.
It was a narrative storytelling tool.
Wasn't there also some link to Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep?
No, we talked about this. It's
it's
Metropolis
you're thinking of.
No, it's the submarine movie.
What,
Silent Running.
Yes, okay.
Oh yeah, no.
It's the two robots from Silent Running.
R2 is based on the Huey, Louie and Dewey from Silent Running.
That's
and
the one.
3PO is
Metropolis.
Based on the robot from Metropolis, whose name escapes me at the moment.
It's some weird name that you wouldn't expect a robot to have, isn't it? Like Floyd.
Yeah,
something like that.
Mr. Floyd.
Mr. Floyd. Keith Floyd.
Though.
That was a great question, Connor. Thank you very much for
that.
You.
We haven't got there, and we haven't got to the end of it yet.
Oh no, there's one more point with it. Why so many Knights of Ren? Well, there was. I've picked this up somewhere, but I don't know where it's come from. That Ben Solo wasn't the only one of Luke's students to fall.
Right. Okay. That I can go with that.
You mean fall or fall to the dark side?
Yeah, to fall from Luke's graces. So who knows whether it's to fall to the dark side of the Force or just become a violent so and so.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why Luke looks so miffed.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Because he's lost all his. He's failed in that sense of he lost all his. I won't say younglings, but you know what I mean. Trainees, whatever you want to call them.
I have an alternate theory to postulate, which is that the presence of the sheer number of Knights of Ren could be down to Kylo just wanting to feel like big boys. You know what I mean? Like just kind of wanting to feel like a big shot.
Yeah.
So the more people he kind of commands,
got a gang around him.
He is like a petulant child, isn't he?
Yeah,
That's the way he comes across in Episode 7.
And if he's got that kind of playground bully gang around him, the bigger the gang, the more kind of confident he's going to feel.
Yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me if you find out retrospectively in the next films that actually he was quite weak and almost bullied to a sense.
Yeah, I think we've seen a bit of that already, haven't we? We've seen the weakness definitely in Force Awakens.
I think the first line of Episode 9 is going to be, "Give us your dinner money or I'll smash your face in."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Through that shiny silver mask.
You blew the whistle on a blag, you slag. That's a bit of Cockney for him.
Do me, lemon.
All right, so let's jump into some Star Wars news, and we've got some neatly organised show notes, I must say, this week. I'm
Lovely. Check you out.
Patting myself on the back. Right, top of the list, Star Wars Celebration Europe. Mark Hamill will be in attendance, which means Steve and I stand a pretty good chance of meeting him.
Yes.
Okay, he's also taking part in a new Force for Change campaign where whoever donates the most, like the highest bidder for all intents and purposes, will get to meet Mark. I don't know if you've seen the video, but it's quite funny because he starts rattling off all these things you can do with him. Take a selfie, work on a secret handshake, take a long walk on the beach, go to a chocolate factory. It's all like weird stuff.
Don't like the last one.
You don't like chocolate factories?
No, Steve. No, it's like a Willy Wonka style thing.
Oh, okay. Not his chocolate factory.
No.
Sorry, I fell for this once before when I was at school. Never again.
Was it the old rhyme, milk, lemonade? Around the corner, chocolate's made.
Oh, dear. Around the corner, a register is made.
Somebody tried to touch me where I wee, and it ain't happening again.
I'll ask you guys to just consider what images are going to be on screen when this goes on YouTube. It'll be quite disturbing. So yeah,
that's why we like to give you some work to do, Mark.
Yeah.
You've had it too easy. I haven't cursed once in the main shows.
No, you've done really well, mate. I'm quite impressed.
Thank you.
I had to beat Stephen last week.
I was going to say, considering the blue tide I run in my own podcast, I'm surprised I've managed to keep it under my hat. But so far, so good.
This is why, Mark, we need our shirts, because if we need to try and get to meet Mark Hamill, we need our Talk Star Wars shirts big time.
Well, I don't know. You haven't seen the lanyards yet, have you?
Yeah, but
really
you're not going to see a lanyard from that far away.
Are they like A3?
They are very large, yeah. They're more like sandwich boards. Anyway.
Wow.
Okay, that's all right then.
Moving on. Some Force Awakens news. The Force Awakens hit Blu-ray a couple of weeks ago, as we all know. And it has been outselling the other Blu-rays. It's outsold the other 19 Blu-rays in the top 20 combined.
That's unreal.
Now that is pretty significant.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
It blows my mind. It just makes me think either there's going to be a massive drop-off because everybody in the world will have a copy, or
probably
the other ones are just selling next to nothing.
Weren't we getting copies of this? I'm still waiting for mine.
Yeah, we were.
I haven't bought one yet.
Yeah, we
just
were.
for that reason.
Have you got did you get the digital version?
No.
Oh,
I haven't got an Apple TV.
So, Rob, you obviously haven't been watching Star Wars then, have you, Rob?
I've been watching Rebels. That's true, I actually have.
Oh, good. I'll be interested to get your...
There was a deal on iTunes not last week, the week before, where it was the first series was $7.99, so I jumped right on that. Because normally it's about 20 quid, so I thought I'd jump on that while I had the chance. And I'm waiting for the 2 parts of Series 2 to drop in price, because they're $9.99 each, which is very sneaky. Because it adds up to 20 quid for the whole series, which is exactly what they're charging for the other one, which seems a bit sus.
That was a bit of a thing. Anyway, moving on to some Rogue One news. We covered some of this. Pablo Hidalgo squashes the rumours that Snoke may be in the back to tank in Rogue One. So he came out and said Snoke is nowhere near Rogue One. This just happened today. I just saw this evening before we started recording. Okay. I did send you guys a link to the video, but it was very late in the day. Mads Mikkelsen confirms he's playing Jyn Erso's father in Rogue One, a Star Wars story. He let it slip on Sky News. And he realised what he'd done when he said it, so it's too late. It's out there now. Yeah, he's her father. Now, that doesn't mean that he's not Galen, and it doesn't mean that he's not an Inquisitor, or...
Doesn't mean he's not baddie, doesn't mean
so he's not Galen or Inquisitive?
We don't know.
We don't know. I won't make statements for him, but I think that there's still a chance that he could be that guy in a cloak. He still could be this sort of wannabe villain.
It could also be the reformed Oppenheimer-style character we heard rumours about.
It could be. I like that idea less than I like the idea that Jyn's story in Star Wars is going to be a condensed version of Luke's, where she's called into action with the rebellion and she has to take her father down in order to get those Death Star plans out. Yeah. If that's the 1-2 punch of Rogue One, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I'm alright with that.
Okay, that's interesting.
Right, I'm going to have a little bit of a whinge on this bit, but I'll keep it short. Episode 8 news. The A-Wing is making a return to Star Wars by appearing in episode 8. Did any of you guys see Prince William and Prince Harry visit the set?
Yes.
You notice that I've put a little note at the end of this section where I say royal gits because they got to visit the set. Now,
yeah, fair.
Here comes my moan.
Right.
I might cut this out, but I won't.
Okay.
The guys over on Now This Is podcasting, the official podcast of MakingStarWars.net, were being real dicks about William and Harry.
Okay.
In what respect? Well, the way they were talking about them was that they were just a couple of rich playboys. The way they were talking about them,
like they hadn't done their research.
No, the way they were talking about them sort of framed them as being male Kardashians, really.
Oh.
And I don't think they really realised. Now, I'm not a royalist by any stretch of the imagination, but I've got an enormous amount of respect for Prince William and Prince Harry.
Oh, totally.
Mainly because they're brilliant young men for a start, but they're also seasoned servicemen, and they're becoming really incredible and admirable statesmen.
Yes,
yeah. And
agreed.
To kind of give them a slap,
equate them to that,
because they're to just say a couple of millionaire playboys that get to hang around on the set of a Star Wars movie is a bit of a douchey thing to say.
William flies an air ambulance. You don't see,
and he makes a modest salary doing that. And
he's also, I think he also does other work as well. He's a really busy guy. He does
lots of charity work.
He works for the FA. He works for the FA as well, doesn't he?
Does he?
The PFA. He works in some football body, like a gubernatorial body, as some sort of director.
Right.
I'm sure it's the FA. I know he's a big Villa fan, but I mean, obviously,
the bottom line is they're people. They're not perfect, but they're pretty good. I mean, they're close to perfect.
Totally.
Yes, they are earning a lot of money from being royal. But they have no privacy. They have a life of service. And anyone who says the Queen doesn't deserve, for want of a better word, a medal, is like they're idiots, because she is amazing. She's worked every day of her life since she was about 4.
And not for nothing, but I mean, despite the arguments to the contrary, the royal family does bring in a huge amount of money when it comes to the tourist element. It's also, they've got a lot of real estate holdings that generates a lot of income in terms of a net gain as well. Because I read this the other day, because a friend of mine's a really heavy, I suppose he's a Republican, isn't he? If he's not a monarchist.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Did you know, something I learned the other day, I'm not sure if it's true, feel free to let us know. Apparently, we were talking about how absolutely deplorable and hideous it would be if, God forbid, something happened to the Queen, like some sort of terrorist act. And I hate talking about it because it's horrible. But did you know, apparently, that's the only time where the death sentence can be employed?
Oh, really?
I can believe it.
That's because it's high treason, I guess, or something like that.
Well, if you think about it, technically, this is one of those great things about UK laws, is some of the stuff is so outdated and so vague that I've always thought that technically opening somebody else's post is treason, because it's the Queen's, it bears the Queen's image.
Really?
Yeah, because it's illegal to isn't it technically illegal to burn money or something like that?
So it's illegal to open the Queen's flaps.
Yeah.
And we're moving on again. But let me just finish up by saying that I stopped short of saying I was offended by what the guys on the podcast were saying, because that's taking it a bit too far.
It's a little bit classless.
Yeah. I have to say I like the guys at MakingStarWars.net. I enjoy their podcast. They haven't burnt a bridge to a listener here in any way, shape or form. But it just seemed to me it came off a little bit ignorant, because they're not just millionaire playboys hanging around on a set of Star Wars.
No,
like you guys just pointed out, they're hardworking. They get no private life. They're indentured servants to the UK essentially. Yeah, and they deserve a little bit more respect than that.
And hang on, if I was a millionaire playboy,
which you are,
somebody invited me, which I am. If somebody invited me on the Star Wars set, I go, no, I can't do that. I'm a millionaire playboy. It would look bad. I'd be there like a shot.
In your little red and green pants.
I'd be there in my reasonably decent paid office job. I wouldn't be. Yes. You don't need to be a millionaire for that. They could phone me tomorrow and ask, and I'll make.
And if excuses. They went there under that premise, good for them. They're lucky.
Yeah, too right.
Like, Jesus Christ.
Incidentally,
speaking jealousy, I think this smacks of. Sorry, Rob.
That's all right, mate. Speaking of episode 8 behind the scenes stuff, did you see the little montage of Rey training
Yes,
the
I
other
did,
day that
with
did
the
the
lightsaber.
Now I'm going to write kind of postulate a theory to this. It's a semi-serious one. Could she just be swinging around a lump of rebar in the second film? Because she did just have a big stick, and it just made me think, well, is she just going to just be swinging a bit of concrete around?
Definitely looks like a saber she's using, though, not a staff.
I'm sure it is.
I was starting to think that maybe she would have a lightsaber. Yeah, I'm being careful because you know what'll happen if I say double end. Steve will go off on one. Right.
Mark, sometimes I think you don't know me at all.
Yeah. But then you realise I do, yeah. Okay,
There's
last
more
news.
depth to me than you know.
Oh, I don't want to know.
Some Pink Cantina talk.
Last piece of Star Wars news of the night. This is a couple of weeks old now, but I did like it. Rian Johnson put out an image on his Tumblr account, black and white image of Maz Kanata, which essentially confirms Maz Kanata for episode 8. I just wondered quickly what you guys thought she might be doing in episode 8. What will her story responsibilities be?
Well, as long as she doesn't hurl herself around like Yoda did in episode 3, which was ridiculous. And she is the size that she could do it. I reckon she's going to boink Chewie finally.
Bonus point.
Where's my boyfriend?
Yeah, where's my boyfriend?
She likes that Wookiee.
Yeah, she does like
I mean,
that
he
Wookiee.
needs a trim, though.
And he needs a shoulder to cry on as well. So, just saying.
He'll probably get the bikini trimmers out on him, I reckon, before she does.
She'd have to go beyond the Brazilian for that, wouldn't she?
He's like Klingon Central.
Brazilian Wookiees. If only we named these episodes with random things like that.
Well, why don't we start?
Okay. I was wondering whether or not she might have something to do with training Finn in some way.
Okay, interesting. So, I mean... it's weird, isn't it? Because
I know I'd go as far as to say she's my favourite character.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah.
She is a good character. She's got a lot of character.
I really like her a lot. Yeah.
I'm gonna theorize. It's not very well formed because I've just been kind of turning it over in my head while we've been talking. I reckon we're going to see where she sets up shop next. Briefly.
Yeah.
As a part of a. I've theorized before about how there might be a subplot going on about trying to find out how certain events have happened to that point, like where the lightsaber came from and that sort of thing. Yeah. I wonder if maybe we'll see her new digs, like a kind of temporary setup during a period of trying to investigate something.
I wonder if she runs that casino that we've heard talk about.
It seems too quick to me.
Maybe she had an empire.
Maybe she might.
Entirely possible, yeah.
Maybe she owns a canteen on Tatooine.
She didn't seem to care, did she, that the whole building had just fallen down? She just sort of came out.
She just said beasts. She called them beasts, which I would have been effing and blinding like nobody's business.
Yeah.
She seems above all that.
Get out of my pub.
I mean, this is what gets me about the whole thing about Luke being the last Jedi theory.
Yeah.
He obviously isn't, because there are so many Force-sensitive people, and highly Force-sensitive. I'm not talking about... Oh, hang on a minute.
This is what I've been saying about Rebels, and my one thing about it is that every time I see a Force-wielding, lightsaber-wielding person, I just think, what did Order 66 really achieve?
Yeah.
All it did was set up half a dozen montages of taking out the most powerful Jedi, but it really didn't wipe out in the kind of comprehensive way we were led to believe in Episode 3 originally.
No, but you've also, I suppose, there's two things to consider. How are we defining Jedi? Because remember, Luke says to Yoda, "So I am a Jedi," and it's like, "Get out of here, you mug! You're no Jedi."
Do me a lemon.
Probably wasn't doing a Cockney accent. But he said, "No,
I'll mug you off.
You're not a Jedi until you face Vader." So that's his trial. And when he completed the trial, we don't really see a lot of that. We don't see a lot of these trials. We're not really privy to what they have to go through before knighthood. I think Kanan gets knighted in Rebels at some point. You'll see that, Rob. I kind of lost a bit of patience with the show. But with regard to the Force sensitive, also in Rebels, which we know is canon, the Emperor instructs Vader to round up the children of the Force. So go and find any Force, and then they will become Inquisitors, or they'll be put to death. So the idea, I think 66 gave the guy a head start, and then he could just snuff out these little wannabes as and when they popped up.
Okay.
That's, I'm just...
Yeah, I can see that. I'll swing with that.
Spitballing.
It's implied. Maybe not the catch-all answer we would want. I'll work on it. But
No, fair enough.
There's something to be said there, I think, that they're not all Jedis. Like Mads says, she's not a Jedi, but she knows the Force. So there are Force-sensitive people out there that don't qualify.
Yeah, I think circling back to the question about Maz Kanata, I think we'll have a bit of a comedy scene with her in a similar way to what we had in Force Awakens, where she was kind of, she was a serious character doing storyline things, but she was delivering humorous scenes and humorous moments during that period. So I think we might see something like that again.
For a CGI character, she was great.
She was
absolutely
fantastic. Really well done.
Very, very believable.
I think it's the motion capture stuff that helps a lot.
Yeah. I mean, when I say CGI, there's probably a head under there.
Yeah.
Wasn't part of it real? Did somebody not wear sort of a mocap?
It's actually performance capture. So she had something like 150 little white dots stuck on her face. 120 little white dots stuck on her face.
Oh, yes, I've seen the image. I've seen the picture. It just came back in the flash.
The camera kit that they used in Avatar, so that she was constantly being filmed. And then it all translates over in real time onto the digital model. So that's the image that we saw in Ryan's photograph, to bring it back to this photograph, was the real-time interpretation of all of that data manifesting itself immediately in front of Lupita Nyong'o, so she can see what she's doing.
Yeah. Can I go on a major tangent?
If you want, time's running out.
Oh, yeah, no. Cameron open to the idea of doing another Aliens film, but has too much on his plate with Avatar 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Why announce 5, honestly?
Oh, well, they're doing
because they're awesome.
Incredible.
They were doing 4.
No, I think it is 4. So it's 2. Sorry, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, not 6.
Right. Oh, 5 in total. Okay, I thought you'd announced 5 new ones. Okay. It's still excessive.
So it was interesting that he's even contemplated doing another Aliens, because how good would that be? But
we can tie that back to Star Wars as well by saying that the Han Solo movie is now a May 2018 release date. So that, instead of being the Christmas movie that year, it's going to come just 5 months after episode 8.
Episode 8.
Yeah, and then Avatar will take the Christmas spot. So they're being very careful not to cannibalise each other's box office, but it does make me wonder what's going to happen between Star Wars and Marvel, both Disney powerhouse properties.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it?
Are they gonna damage each other's box office with a Star Wars dropping every May?
Possibly.
I don't think so.
We've had a superhero movie most months this year.
Yeah.
It's incredible to think that we've had Deadpool, we've had Civil War coming out this week, Doctor Strange is this year. What else is there?
Well, it's been Batman versus Superman.
Obviously that's DC, but I mean, obviously they know, must know when other people are planning to release. So, so there's lots going on.
And then you've got obviously the big one in the summer, the Will Smith one.
Yeah. Suicide Squad. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, that's going to be the thing that makes DC, isn't it?
I hope so. Because I think it looks really cool. Yeah, I think it looks really cool, the Suicide Squad movie.
Yes. Margot Robbie. How can you go wrong? Hello.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Right, I think that's us done then, isn't it? So
cool.
Let's stick a pin in this. I think we've just had a little conversation. We're probably going to put out, instead of an After Dark, or instead of a traditional After Dark this week, we're going to put out a short special about Rey, because I've got some stuff to say about that. Steve may or may not stay on, depending on time. But for this week, that's it for the Talk Star Wars podcast. Chaps, where can everybody find you between shows?
Well, I'm now doing videos again on my YouTube channel, Calistine, Calastin, Calistine, and it's all about insects and habitats and DIY and stuff. It's exciting, but I'm trying to make it a little bit more interesting. But I've got some good feedback, so it's going well. But please head on over there.
You always put it down, Steve, but it is what you're doing on there is fantastic. It's really good stuff, and it's kind of like Star Wars because they all look like Geonosians.
Yes, exactly. And if I can save a few bees, then
there you go. Got to be worth it.
Like B. Arthur.
Yep. Queen Bee, Beyonce.
Yeah. Making
the
lemonade.
wasp.
Rob, where can people find you?
So you can find me on Twitter at RobWadeVision. I also run a blog called Emotionally 14 that has its own Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. You can search for it, Emotionally 14, using the digits 14, not the letters. I'm absolutely prolific with producing videos at the moment, so hopefully I should be prolific with releasing them soon as well. I put 5 up in advanced post-production last night, and so I'm on an absolute steamroll of clearing out.
An absolute steamer.
I'm absolutely steamrolling through my backlog at the moment because I found a nice way to make it quick, so I'm able to turn them around much quicker. So hopefully it should mean there's going to be plenty of stuff on that YouTube channel.
Awesome.
Get them clicks. And obviously, there's podcasts on iTunes as well for Emotionally 14. There's a written site on the blog. There's all sorts of stuff. It's a hotbed of geek media.
Nice.
And just watch my adverts. That's what I wanted to say, because all the money goes towards saving rainforests. So please watch my adverts on YouTube. Even if you don't like the videos, watch them for me.
Click play.
I'll do
make
both.
A cup of tea.
All right.
Yeah, just watch them all.
Yeah.
And then click and buy something or something and make you loads of money to
Buy a rainforest. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or it's rainforest or wood or stuff, materials to make insect habitats. It's all very exciting.
All the links we've spoken about can be accessed through the description to this episode. It will take you to our landing page for contact details, where you'll find my details. I'm at Talk Star Wars on Twitter, and you'll find everything else I do at talkstarwars.co.uk. Cool. That's it for this week, kids. There probably won't be an After Dark Side, but there will be something, possibly this Ray special thing we're toying with. Look out for that on Thursday. Otherwise, stay in touch. Send us email. Like us on Facebook. Get in touch. You've heard us tonight discuss everything that the other listeners kick our way, so do that. And we'll see you then.
Yes.
Thanks very much, guys.
Thanks, guys.
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap. It's a wrap.